love songs fool you. You know what I'm saying? Like, made mistakes, horrible mistakes in our past.
Mr. Dalvin seems to have a lot to get off his chest, as he's now revealing some never heard before darkest secrets about Jodeci. Starting with how the Hailey brothers kept clashing with DeVante over creative decisions. In fact, Mr. Dalvin shared a story where an argument with K-Ci even turned violent.
I mean, did you think he was going to shoot you?
I was going to shoot him, because my cousin had a gun too, so...
The Hailey brothers also battled substance abuse, but things got worse when DeVante and K-Ci were accused of forcing themselves on a female fan.
I heard this story before. I'm being honest.
You heard this?
I heard DeVante was the Suge Knight, R&B Suge Knight. I swear to God, I heard this story.
You know what I'm saying? Wanted to be.
Their link to Death Row Records only brought more violence, and after that, they faced one failed comeback after another. Just how bad did it get for Jodeci? Let's dive in.
Come on, come on, come on and talk to me.
Jodeci was a famous R&B group made up of two sets of brothers. DeVante Swing, whose real name was Donald DeGreat Jr., and his brother Mr. Dalvin, whose real name was Dalvin DeGreat, were one pair. The other pair was K-Ci, whose real name was Cedric Hailey, and his brother JoJo, whose real name was Joel Hailey.
Well, me and DeVante actually were born in Hampton, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And we moved to North Carolina at a really, really young age, so we basically from North Carolina.
Right, and you and DeVante are brothers.
Yeah.
K-Ci and JoJo are brothers.
Absolutely.
Before they came together as Jodeci, the DeGreat brothers and the Hailey brothers were part of different gospel music groups. They lived in North Carolina and grew up singing in church. The DeGreat brothers loved playing instruments and working on music production. The Hailey brothers were known for their strong voices and emotional singing. Even though they were in different groups, both pairs loved music deeply and wanted to do more with it. Later, they decided to work together and form one group. This new group became Jodeci. Their different styles made their music special. The DeGreat brothers brought strong beats, keyboard sounds, and smooth production. The Hailey brothers brought deep, powerful voices and gospel-style singing. Mixing these styles helped them stand out in the R&B world. Their songs felt raw and real, which many fans liked. They didn't try to be like anyone else. Instead, they created a new sound that felt fresh and exciting. This mix of gospel feeling and modern R&B gave them a strong start in the music business.
Jodeci, what made Jodeci so unique, it was like looking at four Tupacs, right? You had the black leather vest with the jeans and the Timberlands, right? And you had four of them like that. So
DeVante Swing took the lead in the group. He was not just a singer, but also the main producer. He worked behind the scenes to shape how the music would sound. He controlled most of the studio work, like the beats, recording, and final sound of the songs. He had a clear vision of what Jodeci should be. Because of this, he became the most powerful person in the group when it came to music decisions. He worked very hard and had big dreams for the group. He wanted Jodeci to be different from other R&B groups at the time. But after some time, problems started to grow inside the group. K-Ci and JoJo began to feel that their ideas were not being heard. They wanted to give their own input on how the song should sound and how the group should move forward. Even though they were the main singers, they didn't have much control over the music. Most choices were made by DeVante. This made K-Ci and JoJo feel left out. They wanted to share more in the creative process, but it was hard because DeVante was used to doing things his way. This led to arguments and stress between the members. These kinds of problems happen often in music groups. When one person has all the control, others may feel ignored or unimportant. Even though Jodeci stayed successful for a while, the tension inside the group made things hard. Each member cared about the group, but they had different ideas about what was best. Over time, this made it difficult for them to work together like they used to. Still, their early work showed how talented they were and how their different styles could come together to create something special. Mr. Dalvin shared a surprising story about how he first met K-Ci.
And we went to the studio they had, or whatever it was. And K-Ci thought I was talking to one of his little girlfriend, 'cause she was in the group. And at the time, he pulled a pistol out on me. So, yeah.
You might think their first meeting was full of music and brotherly love, but it was actually very different. When they first met, K-Ci thought Mr. Dalvin was trying to talk to one of his girlfriends. The girl was in a gospel group called Unity. At that moment, K-Ci got angry and pulled a gun on Mr. Dalvin. It shocked everyone around, and it could have ended badly. But thankfully, it didn't.
I mean, did you think he was going to shoot you?
I was going to shoot him. Because my cousin had a gun too, so it's like...
Back then, people in North Carolina who sang gospel music had already heard about Mr. Dalvin and his brother. They were well known on the gospel circuit. At the same time, people also knew about K-Ci and his brother JoJo, who sang gospel as well. Fans from both sides thought it would be amazing if the two pairs of brothers came together and made music. So one night, someone took Mr. Dalvin to meet K-Ci and JoJo at a studio. But when K-Ci saw Mr. Dalvin talking to a girl he liked, he thought there was something more going on. That's when he pulled the pistol on him. The gun situation could have gotten worse. Mr. Dalvin said his cousin had a gun too, and he was ready to use it to defend him. Both sides were angry and ready to fight. But later, Mr. Dalvin found out that K-Ci's gun didn't even work. It was just a small .22 gun, and it probably wouldn't have done much damage. But still, it could have led to a dangerous moment for both of them. Luckily, it didn't go that far. As Mr. Dalvin said, God works in mysterious ways.
In K-Ci, I found out later, his gun didn't even work. It was like a little rinky-dink 22, but, it was going to just be all bad. But, God works in mysterious ways, so it didn't happen like that.
Even though they didn't get along at first, things slowly changed. After that night, DeVante and JoJo went off into another room and started making music together. They didn't waste time arguing. They just wanted to create something great. That moment was actually the real start of Jodeci. At first, the group didn't include Mr. Dalvin and K-Ci working side by side. K-Ci went back to Maryland to do his own thing with his gospel group. Mr. Dalvin also did his own thing for a while.
Therefore, Jodeci was born right then, but it was DeVante and JoJo. It wasn't me and K-Ci. K-Ci went back to Maryland. He was working on some other stuff and with his gospel group, and I went my separate ways,
Later on, Mr. Dalvin's brother told him, man, you're really cool. Come on down. But Mr. Dalvin remembered the gun situation and was still upset about it. He said, man, come on, really? He pulled a gun on me. It was not easy to forget. But as time went by, Mr. Dalvin and K-Ci started to talk more, and eventually they became best friends. Not long after that, both pairs of brothers were fully joined together as Jodeci.
Then, me and K-Ci became best friends in the group after that. Not long after that, but we became best friends, yeah.
Okay.
As a group, they were very close. Mr. Dalvin said they were like brothers. They were always together. He said, you couldn't break the chain. They had no choice but to become close. They moved to New York from North Carolina to chase their dream. When they first got to New York, they didn't know anyone. They didn't have many friends. So, they had to stick together and depend on each other. They stayed in the projects in the Bronx, at a place called Rose Avenue. Life there wasn't easy, but it made their bond stronger. Their life was full of music, day in and day out. That's all they did. They didn't party much, and they didn't hang out with a lot of people. They focused on writing and recording songs. They worked hard to make music that was different. They didn't want to dress in shiny suits and do dance routines like other R&B groups. They wanted to sound real, look real, and feel like real people from the streets. When they were still unsigned, their music was already coming together. Most of the songs on their first album, Forever My Lady, were already done before they even got a record deal. They had written many of those songs back in North Carolina. The songs weren't perfect yet, but they had the main parts ready. They just needed to polish them. Their style was a mix of gospel, R&B, and hip-hop. It wasn't like anything people had heard before. At the time, popular R&B was more upbeat and polished. But Jodeci brought a new sound that was raw, emotional, and real. Puffy, also known as Diddy today, saw something special in them. He believed in their style and vision. Puffy was just an intern at the time, working under Andre Harrell at Uptown Records, but he put his job on the line to support Jodeci. Andre wasn't sure about their style at first. He was used to seeing R&B artists wear matching suits and perform choreographed dances. That wasn't Jodeci at all. Puffy explained to Andre that Jodeci had something different. They were street, but they had soul. He fought hard to make Andre believe in the group. When they finally got signed, their first single was Gotta Love. It wasn't a slow love song like most people expected. It was more upbeat and rough around the edges. The record company didn't like it much. They didn't think it would be a hit, and they were right. It didn't become a hit, but it was important because it showed the world who Jodeci really was. It gave people a taste of their style. They didn't want to be seen as just a soft ballad group. They were more than that. Andre told Puffy that if the single Gotta Love didn't work, he would lose his job. Puffy took the risk, and even though the song didn't do well, it helped set the tone for what Jodeci would become. Soon after, the song Forever My Lady came out, and everything changed. That song was a big hit. After that, it felt like Jodeci was everywhere. Hit after hit followed. Songs like Stay.
Baby, I lied when I told you I never want to see you again.
Come and Talk to Me.
Come on, and talk to me.
Freakin' You, and many others made Jodeci one of the biggest R&B groups of the 1990s. They became known for their powerful voices, honest lyrics, and unique style. Mr. Dalvin said his personal favorite song was Phoenix. He loved the feeling it gave him and the sound they created on it. So, even though their story started with a gun and a misunderstanding, it turned into something beautiful. K-Ci and Mr. Dalvin went from nearly fighting to becoming best friends. The bond between all four members grew stronger over time, and their music touched millions of people. Back in April 1993, something serious happened involving DeVante and K-Ci. A woman said she went to a club in Manhattan, New York, and later left with K-Ci. She said they went back to DeVante's home in New Jersey. Once they got there, she claimed that DeVante pointed a gun at her. She also said that K-Ci touched her breast and threatened her. It was a big deal at the time. Many people were shocked by the news. DeVante said the woman was upset because he had a gun in the house. He also said she got angry because no one wanted to drive her home. He believed that's why she made up the story. Still, the law got involved. DeVante later admitted that he had a gun and pleaded guilty to gun charges. K-Ci also pleaded guilty, but not to anything involving sex. His charge was for unwanted physical contact. DeVante said, K-Ci may have touched her breast, but it wasn't rape. It wasn't anything sexual like people think. He just pleaded guilty to touching her. After talking about the case, DeVante seemed to get upset. He didn't like people calling him or his group crazy or bad boys. He asked, why do people think we're crazy? What does bad even mean? What is sin? He said he wasn't trying to hurt anyone. He just didn't understand why people always saw them in a bad way. DeVante had his own problems. In the spring of 1993, something scary happened. Robbers broke into his home. They stole around $160,000 worth of jewelry and clothes. It wasn't just a normal robbery. DeVante said they put a gun in his mouth and another one to the back of his head. He said they were talking about killing him. That moment changed him. After that, he started sleeping lightly and always stayed alert. He said, "It made me want to hurt somebody. I'm in trouble for guns, but I'll never be caught without one now." Even though he talked about his own pain, he didn't seem to think about how he might have hurt others. He just said, "I'm a regular guy." I go to the mall, rent movies, play cards with my boys, and sometimes come up with a good song. Some people said that TLC's song Creep was about DeVante. He had heard that rumor too. When someone asked him if it was true, he said, "I asked her about that. She said no, but someone else said she said yes. Who really knows?" It was one of those things people talked about, but nobody could prove. When someone asked DeVante about the wildest things that happened during Jodeci's best years, he smiled and thought for a bit. He said, "I think one of the craziest things is going to another country where people don't even speak English, but they know your name. They sing your songs word for word. That's wild. They don't understand English, but they know every lyric. That's a feeling you never forget." That showed how famous Jodeci had become. They weren't just popular in the United States, they were known all over the world. Someone also asked DeVante how things were when K-Ci started dating Mary J. Blige. He said it wasn't a big deal for him personally. "It didn't bother me," he said. But for the group, there was some drama. Still, it didn't affect K-Ci's performances. "K-Ci is always ready," DeVante said. "Give him a microphone and he's on." He added that K-Ci got a lot of blame for things that might not have been true. There were a lot of lies. I respect him for not talking back or responding to everything. A lot of what people said didn't really happen. There was also a story going around. Someone named B Legit shared it during a class at Berkeley College. He said he was driving around with Tupac in Los Angeles. They saw K-Ci and Mary J. Blige arguing on the street. B Legit said he stopped his car and told K-Ci not to deal with Mary anymore. He said he used to be with Mary, and she wasn't someone K-Ci should mess with. When someone asked DeVante if that story was true, he said, "That's a new one to me. I never heard that before." But he admitted there was a lot of drama between K-Ci and Mary. They were young, famous, and in the public eye, he said. It just happens. There was another serious moment in DeVante's life. He got robbed again, but this time it was even worse. It happened on his birthday. The group didn't know what was going on. They were all waiting at the studio, working on a song called "Let's Be Alone" for their album Diary of a Mad Band. DeVante was supposed to show up, but he didn't. They kept calling him, but there was no answer. Everyone started getting worried.
Started getting late. Everybody in the studio waiting on DeVante. We kept calling him. And it was like, something ain't right, man. He just wouldn't not show up or come to the studio, something. So
then someone found out that his house had been broken into. They rushed over to check on him. It turned out to be really bad. The robbers had tied him up. They even split his skull open by hitting him with a gun. DeVante fought back hard. He even bit off one of the robbers' fingers. It was a terrible and bloody scene.
Our manager called studio was like, "No, everybody get to DeVante's house. Somebody just broke in." But we didn't even know the severity of the situation. And, they broke in his house, tried to kill him.
People asked if the group knew who was behind the attack. There were many rumors. Some said it was two cousins who did it. Later, one cousin killed the other, and the one who lived ended up in prison. But no one really knows the full truth. It's one of those stories that still has a lot of questions. This all happened while they were working on their second album. Someone asked if they were with Death Row Records at the time. DeVante said no.
At the time, we were just neck and neck at record sales, and we looking at them, how they living and how we living, and it wasn't adding up.
Yeah.
So we started asking questions.
That was before their time hanging around with Death Row. Jodeci was doing their own thing back then. They weren't signed to Death Row, but they were friends with people there later on.
Nobody was giving us straight answers, and it was just, okay, well, listen, let me help you guys.
Okay.
And that's just how the whole Death Row, Suge Knight, Jodeci relationship started.
Right.
Even with all the trouble, the court cases, robberies, and drama, Jodeci kept making music. They were one of the biggest R&B groups in the world during the 1990s. Their songs were played everywhere. People knew them by name. Girls screamed at their concerts. They sold millions of albums. But there were some more problems. The group started having problems that hurt their music and their image. One big moment happened in 2013. During a performance in London, things went very wrong. The group gave a poor performance that night. Their singing was off, and they did not perform together like they used to. People in the audience were unhappy. They began to boo the group loudly. Then something shocking happened. Mr. Dalvin, one of the members, fell off the stage. This made the situation worse. It showed how the group had lost their focus and professionalism. What was once a proud moment for fans turned into a sad and embarrassing night. After that London show, Jodeci started performing less in public. Their behavior became more strange and unprofessional. Promoters and fans began to lose interest in them. People started to feel that the group was not serious about their music anymore. Their bad attitude and poor shows made them lose many chances to perform. They were no longer invited to big music events. It became clear that Jodeci was not the same group that once ruled the R&B world. The public stopped caring, and the group slowly faded from the spotlight.
Whatever you need.
One of the main reasons for their decline was their singing. K-Ci and JoJo were known for their strong voices, but over the years, their vocals got worse. Many people believed this was because of their problems with drugs and alcohol. Their voices sounded tired, and they couldn't hit the high notes like they used to. Fans noticed the change, and many were disappointed. Instead of getting help, the group kept going down the wrong path. Their substance abuse affected their health, their music, and their ability to perform live. Another big problem inside Jodeci was fighting between the members. They began arguing more often, and their egos got in the way. There was no one around to guide them or help fix the problems. The members did not trust each other anymore. This made it hard for them to work together and make music. Their personal issues became more important than their career. Without teamwork, the group slowly broke apart. What started as a strong brotherhood became full of anger and blame. DeVante also faced serious trouble. He was once respected for helping young artists like Missy Elliott and Timbaland. But later, stories came out that he treated them badly. Some people said he was abusive.
I heard this story before. I'm being honest.
You heard this?
I heard DeVante was the Suge Knight R&B Suge Knight. I swear to God, I heard this story.
You know what I'm saying? Wanted to be.
Yeah.
These stories hurt his name and made people question his character. Then, in 2023, something even worse came out. A woman named Liza Gardner filed a lawsuit. She said that in the 1990s, she was given drugs and alcohol by music stars Diddy and Aaron Hall, and then sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
I like for them niggas to see how I fuck. Like, if you speak to Jodeci or Puffy or any of them niggas, they been at my house. They all see me fuck. They all know I'm a big nigga.
Yeah.
In a later update to the case, she said DeVante Swing helped set up the situation. She said he was there during the assault and did nothing to help her. Gardner said she was only 16 years old at the time. Her parents had trusted DeVante Swing to take care of her during a trip to New York. She believed he would protect her, but instead, she said he convinced her to travel from North Carolina to New York and New Jersey. There, she claimed she was drugged and sent to Diddy. She said Swing was in the room while she was being harmed and did not stop it. According to her, he just stood there and watched what was happening. She said he gave her alcohol and marijuana and acted like nothing was wrong. Gardner's story shocked many people. She said DeVante Swing had a duty to protect her because he was older and her parents trusted him. But she believed he betrayed that trust. Jodeci's fall from fame is a sad story. They had talent, fans, and success. But over time, they lost their way. Bad choices, fighting, drug problems, and now serious accusations have ruined the name they once built. What started as a dream turned into a nightmare.